This is SR1.
Good evening, and welcome to Rick and Hasha
at night,
broadcasting live from our beautiful penthouse apartments and our penthouse studios in beautiful downtown Chesterfield.
Yeah.
It is a little after 9 on the 21st day of April, and I give the date this year because we had a special visitor to...
you had a special event you went to,
We did.
Rick.
We did. It was wonderful. The Defense of Liberty hosted... Donald Trump Jr. was in town. Yes. A great show. A little backstory on this. This show was supposed to have happened last year.
A couple of times. Didn't they reschedule it a couple of times?
Twice. Mother Nature got them in February. But last year, when they started selling the tickets, which Defense of Liberty has done this like 6 or 7 years in a row, and they've had some very good speakers, but they've never had anybody at the height of the quality of Donald Trump Jr.
Right.
And when J.P. Morgan and Chase Bank, who was financing or having the tickets sold for this event, found out it was Donald Trump, they slowed the process down, way down. They wasn't processing the tickets. They wasn't processing the credit cards and so forth. And they had a few conversations wanting to know some backstories and some information about the agenda itself and the program. Finally, it took Paul Kirkman, who is the co-founder or the founder of the Defense of Liberty. He went to the state treasurer, and the state treasurer called J.P. Morgan and asked him what the problem was. And they said, well, they don't normally, this type of event. They're not, inclined to support, basically. And so the state treasurer just told him, well, that's fine, but if you want to continue to do business with Missouri, you will find a way to do it. And lo and behold, they did. That was the good news. The bad news about it, it had taken so long for them to do this.
Yeah.
That they couldn't get the event on in time.
Didn't they use COVID as an excuse?
Well, that was
initially.
That might have been part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't stop them from doing the processing and the charging and the exchange of funds and so forth. Yeah. It was, and then of course the second time, like I said, it was. I think Donald Trump was snowed out of someplace back east, couldn't get here, and if he got here, I'm not sure he could get around anyway because we was having bad weather here too.
Right. So how did it go? What did you do? What did he say?
It's perfect. It was.
He said perfect.
Even with the delays, I mean the delays caused the information that together since then, and it's so much better. It's like,
how was the crowd?
Oh, it was full. It was a sellout. The agenda wasn't it was at the Marriott. The location wasn't as large as the one we normally have in St. Charles
Okay.
Convention Center. But
how many people? 500?
Oh, at least, yeah.
Okay.
Probably. Like I say, I think originally it was supposed to be 1,000, and then it went down to 700. So yeah, probably someplace between 500 and 700. And the reason it wasn't 1,000 is because we changed locations.
Ah.
But he is so funny. I mean, I've met him. I've seen him before at the conventions, and I'd heard him speak it live before, but not on this type of venue. I mean, and that's why I say Biden. He's has given him so much information in the last few weeks that it was just
we're gonna get to Biden too.
And this guy is. I mean, he's funnier than anybody that's honestly hosting a late night show today.
Really?
Jimmy Kimmel and who all the other guys are. I never
they're
watch
not
them.
that funny, are they?
No, they're not. They're not. But
I mean, how many late night guys are really that funny anymore?
They're hateful, and it's what the right thing would be.
Yeah,
they're not. And he took almost the same type of material, political stuff, but it was factual. I mean, he didn't have to make stuff up, and it's talking about, well, give you one example. He said that he criticized Biden for turning around at the event and wanted to shake somebody's hand.
In the air.
It was like five minutes around. So he said he questioned the White House. He said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, that's not that's not unusual." He says he's been in politics for years. So what he's doing, he's just kind of like pointing. He's not trying to shake hands. He's pointing with four fingers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he said, "Okay, but then you show me a tape. The guy's been in politics for 50 years. You show me a tape in the past where he's standing
point with four fingers.
Then I'll believe
So
that
dumb.
BS. But that was the type of enlightening and entertaining. It was almost educational as entertaining as our show.
Oh, come on, Rick!
I
Go
know
that far.
It's a high bar. But he met it.
How dare you?
He was, and I look for the guy to enter politics someday.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
he's a Trump.
He's a successful businessman. He's charismatic. Tells a good story. Got the name. Yeah, Donald Trump Jr. So, I'm sorry you couldn't make it. I mean, I know you're busy.
I know you invited me. And,
yep, I bought you tickets, and I bought your husband tickets, and
it's just kind of tough, especially it landed on a Thursday night, which was just not workable.
I know.
Logistically, was not workable for me.
The reason she couldn't go, folks, is because of her kids. She couldn't bring her kids, and so I told her years ago not to have any kids, but she.
I don't listen.
No.
Well.
So what have you got for us now? What would you like to talk about first tonight?
Well, I guess we can always talk about Ukraine. That's always something, right?
It's always something new, always something different. No.
Yeah, apparently today he declared victory in Mariupol.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they really didn't take what they were supposed to take. So, they've been they're holed up in a steel plant, the Ukrainians, and the Russians are bombarding them, and it's an industrial site. So they actually didn't take the plant, and they didn't rush in to do anything. He's just claiming that they won the struggle, even though they haven't taken anything.
They won the city. Yeah.
They won the city. Now, they have been doing this for a long time. They have been at this for a long time. Yeah. So maybe he's thinking, well, eventually it'll happen. But Putin. I mean, Putin will just say something and just to say it. So there's obviously not any military truth in what he's saying, but he's claiming it as a victory.
But he's got a new general. Is he involved in this exercise or this event?
Well, if he's the general, he's probably overseeing a lot of these strategic attacks and things like that. So I would probably say yes. But the Ukrainians, of course, are scoffing at his claiming a victory. They're like, well,
we're still here.
We're still here. What are you doing?
We're fighting.
Right. Where you at?
Well, this new general, for those of you who don't know it, is what they call the butcher of
He has a name. I mean, like a nickname.
Yes. Yeah, he released sarin gas on Serbs.
Oh.
Yeah, and Bush of Serbia. Yeah, he's brutal. He
Yeah.
is one brutal son of a gun.
It seems like everybody in that area is kind of into, even the Ukrainians, they're kind of all into poisoning and gassing. And,
Exactly. Mhm.
You know, something that like Americans over here, all we do is take out our guns and shoot people.
Yeah.
Worried about poisoning or gassing anybody.
The regular violence. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Because the normal.
Why
you
go
know.
high tech? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just like the woman in New York that was killed last week, stabbed 55 times. I mean, she wasn't poisoned. She wasn't gassed.
She just stabbed
old
55
fashioned gas. Yeah. I don't know if she's on our agenda tonight or not, but I just had to.
Who
bring
was
it up.
this one?
The New York housewife, mother of two, 51 years old,
Oh, my.
married, was having an affair with the maintenance man and for 2 years, and
Oh.
she went home. He followed her, or he waited for her. He knew where the key was, and her husband and one son was out of town. The other son, the 13-year-old son, was in the upstairs bedroom, and she got in an argument with I don't know if you call him the maintenance man or the lover at this point, but it ended up with he stabbed her. I thought about yeah, 50 some odd times, and
Whoa.
then and then he removed her body in a hockey bag, and went out took her out to the park, disposed. He left the kitchen knife there on the floor.
You are not thinking straight. I mean, you've got to, what is going through your mind? I mean, obviously nothing, because there's no, it just got to be rage or something, because there's no rhyme or reason to this. 51 times, really? 51 times?
Yeah.
Like, you think she'd be dead,
Yeah.
like
Maybe-
halfway in there.
Oh,
somewhere.
sure. She bled out. He
And then just dragged her and put her somewhere? I
put her
mean,
in a bag,
Stuff is like,
disposed of her
doesn't make any
body,
sense.
threw his coat in the park, but it's just like
Obviously, this guy did not watch Breaking Bad.
no, obviously not. he had a lot better technique.
Right.
But just like Frank James, when they heard he was after him, he gave himself up. He just came in and said, "I understand you're looking for me." And so, yeah, I think we are. And he admitted everything.
I always wonder about these insanity pleas, right? Because you have to be insane to do this. I mean,
no.
you do. So how is that like a defense? I mean, I'm an attorney, so
Yeah.
But I always kind of like wondered about that. I guess, I mean, they have something that's called intent, in the law, and so you have to prove intent, which means you intentionally wanted to do it. So even if you were crazy and you intentionally did something, you could still be charged. You can't use the insanity plea there. But I guess the biggest thing is you have to know that that it's intentional. Like your intention was to do that, as opposed to you being completely like out of it and doing it, maybe not realizing or not understanding the gravity of what you're doing.
What are you looking for, like a temporary insanity plea?
Temporary insanity and just insanity in general.
Yeah.
Some people are just out of it.
Well, the crazy thing about the insanity plea is it's backwards.
I like the way you said that. The crazy thing
About
the insanity plea.
is back. The McNaughton
Definitely.
rule itself. McNaughton was he was trying to kill Robert Peel, who was either the prime minister or the head police in England. This is in the 1840s. And he didn't kill
You weren't
him.
around.
No, it was before Freud was around too. But he killed another man, the secretary to the prime minister. And at the time, when he was tried, his defense was, I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Obviously I'm insane.
Right.
And so that was they said that, the prosecutor claimed that's not, that's not a valid defense.
Right.
And they convicted the guy. And he said that, now after that, they reversed the fact that what the prosecutor's proposition or proposal is now the law, even though it didn't affect that case. McNaughton was convicted. Well, actually, he was found guilty by insanity.
Yeah.
And they said it's just the evidence. If you knew right from wrong at the time of the event,
Right. Yeah.
then you cannot claim insanity. He was saying he was insane, but he knew right from wrong at the time. and he
Wouldn't
still
you
went for it.
know, like if you say you're insane, I mean, most people that are really insane wouldn't say that.
Last
They'd
thing
be
they
like,
say. Yeah.
I'm completely fine.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
I did was fine,
And I want to be my own lawyer.
Right.
Is crime of passion a real thing?
It's
It
crime of
is,
absolutely.
yeah.
So wouldn't
yeah.
That
would
is the
that have
defense.
fallen under that?
Nope.
Well, it's not insanity. It's just a crime of passion. So it's
But
a.
this was the lover, though. This is a,
Oh, you're talking about in this
Now,
particular
yeah.
case?
that case you were talking
Yeah,
about.
it's
probably.
it's rage. I mean, you know, crime
Yeah.
of passion. Say
It's
if we
the
got an
same
argument,
defense.
say if I stabbed you one time and you died, you know, it was passion. But 51 stabs is not passion.
Well, but
You'd
it
be
also, they
gone.
can use it, and I'll tell you, because it depends. So if something happens, for example, if you walk in and you see your wife in bed with somebody else and you go crazy, like temporary insanity is kind of what happens. So then you go crazy and then you just, stab her 50 times or whatever, or stab him, I think in that circumstance,
That's the
you can
OJ
kind of
case.
claim it. Right. You can kind
Kinda.
of claim that. You can, it's doable anyway as a defense, right? But whether or not they'll
Yeah.
buy it, I don't know. But
Well, it's hard to say that that you planned.
But
Obviously, not premeditation.
if
at
it,
that
yeah, it's
point.
not premeditated.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it has to be very close to the event that would cause this passion or this rage that happened. And I don't know if that's what happened in this case.
No. This is
No, this sounded premeditated. He went over there and
It was late at night. She came home from a bar. She's supposed to meet somebody, and then he came in the house, and obviously for some reason they went to the basement. I don't know, for privacy or whatever, because they had a son on the top floor, a
Oh,
13-year-old
bad
son.
idea.
So that
13?
Yeah, the son. And then the other son was 15-year-old son was away with the dad. But yeah, with that movement and that privacy and that secrecy or whatever you want to call it, passion
don't
or
think-
insanity is
Oh,
both.
yeah, definitely
I don't
not.
think
Yeah, they're gone. Yeah. So that was just a little sidetrack
Yeah.
from the craziness in
Ukraine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, what about Tulsi Gabbard? Look, I don't
I love her.
know much about her.
Yeah.
I know that you really like her.
I do.
And I know that she was making some claims, and apparently, people are now, some people are calling, her a Russian asset for pushing U.S. biolabs in the Ukrainian area. Mitt Romney was one of them. Mitt Romney actually ended up saying that she was treasonous by all
Exactly.
things. So she sent him a cease and desist letter, I think yesterday or today or something. But so she said, she lawyered up, and
Right.
she said, hey, you're false and defamatory statements, and that he needs to apologize, I guess, publicly to her for calling her a traitor and this and that.
The Russian asset came out originally from Hillary, and I think that was doing a campaign. And then she's come out and said again, which we've talked about on the show in the past, is whether or not the United States
Had biochemical labs that they were funding.
You see, folks, I can start a sentence and she can.
It's because
No.
we're such good partners.
We are. This is. I like it. I love it. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, you're right.
And there is stuff we're funding. That's not a secret.
We are funding.
We are funding,
Yeah.
and it's for pathogens and it's
Yeah.
biological stuff.
So they say that it's not. They're saying it's not a weapon.
It's not a weapon. They're saying it's what does he went on? Oh, it's some just things in research, medical research. I
Exactly.
guess is really what it is.
Or how to detect things like COVID and other
Right.
what you say, foreign particles introduced by maybe another country or by an enemy. They're supposed to have the capability of detecting this in the air or
Right.
in the environment.
Yeah. So supposedly they have these biolabs in a lot of places, in a lot of countries.
And we're supporting them. And
Yeah,
we're financing
and
them.
we're funding it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's saying it's a little bit more, which it may or may not. We don't know.
Yeah,
And-
but what kind of stuff is she giving any kind of evidence or proof, or what is
Well,
or is she just surmising because we're over there and because we're funding at such a phenomenal rate that's what it has to be?
Probably the latter.
Okay.
That's in. It doesn't make sense that we have this many labs over there. Of course, we funded Wuhan.
Yeah. Right.
And we're probably still funding
Oh,
it to some
Fauci.
extent. But she's saying the trick part, and what I want to ask you about this, because this is when Hillary said it during a campaign. It was she was open to criticism because she was actively pursuing a public office. She's not actively pursuing anything any longer. She's out of politics. She made a statement, but she is also a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserve.
She is?
She is. And a United States senator from a very conservative
Oh,
state.
you're talking about Tulsi Gabbard.
I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay.
You think I was talking about Hillary?
Yeah, I was like, you went from Hillary. I was like, yikes.
No.
She was.
Oh, that was.
And
that
this
was-
Tulsi Gabbard, she was a former Democrat.
Yes.
Okay.
She's still a Democrat.
Okay, she's still doing. Okay, interesting. All right, keep going.
But
Listening.
as a military officer, and she makes a public statement that is in the interest of her and the citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And the United States senator says she's treasonous or she's committing a crime. That's why she's telling him, I think, and you as an officer in the Army, I was in the Air Force, we didn't have treasons. We had parties. So
That's like my dad. He was like, I was a civilian. I was a military and civilian outfit. He's
that's with the pretty blue suit. Yeah,
right.
he was in the Air
Nice
Force.
blue suit. The
But-
chair force.
But that would be an effect on her career. I mean, this United States senator says charging her verbally, not officially, with the crime of treason. He has to answer that, and that's what she's saying. You know, you shot your big mouth off.
Yeah.
Now you prove it. If
Right.
not, he's liable.
Right. So
I
a couple
think-
things going on here. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I was in the U.S. Army, and I can see okay. So I'll give you a little bit of what happened to me when I was in the Army. So I was maybe a year out from deciding whether I was going to stay in or not, and I decided, I got this wild hair up my ass, and I decided that I was going to write these articles because the Army Times was looking for writers to write stuff about the Army. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'll do that. That sounds really fun. So I sat down and started racking my brain. I wrote some really good articles. They actually took my articles out of the hundreds they got, and they printed mine, with my picture. I mean, I was going to be like a monthly or weekly a writer, and I wrote some pretty, how can I say, controversial pieces. Okay.
You?
Yeah, me. Little old me. So I was a lieutenant at the time, captain maybe. I was a captain.
Captain.
And I wrote some pretty controversial pieces. One of them I remember was about women in combat. Okay, so I'll tell you, I was a physical animal when I was in the Army. Okay, so I was able to compete even with the guys and stuff. But I did not believe that as a whole, women had what it took to be in combat. Okay, and I made this clear in my article. And it was very controversial. And I got pulled onto the commander's carpet for writing this, and I got reamed, okay? Mm-hmm. But of course, I didn't care, so I wrote a couple more. And then they ended up
Now you're encouraged
bringing
to
me
do
back.
it.
Yeah, they bring me back, and they're like, look, this is the last straw. And then they said, hey, you really need to, it's a good thing that you're getting out, because at that time I had already submitted my paperwork to get out. And they said, because, we wouldn't tolerate this. You're an officer. You're not supposed to have any opinions or thoughts about things. You're an officer. You're supposed to uphold, what we do around here. And I said, I have my own opinions, and so my boss, he actually recently died a few years ago from leukemia, but he was a great guy, and he put up with me, which was even better. So he ended up getting pulled up in front of the commander too with me. And then when I left, my boss said that the commander looked at him and said, "Can't you control your officer?" And he said, well, she's kind of a free spirit. He's like, you can go ahead and try, sir.
Be my guest.
Be my guest. So I will say that the military does not look kindly upon this kind of stuff. Now, she's in the reserves. I don't know how they feel about it, or, she's a weekend warrior, they call them. So I don't know, but I would imagine, yes, that there is some kind of backlash for her on saying the things that she's said. Now, do I believe that officers have opinions? Of course I do. I don't think there's anything wrong. And, we don't know. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to stuff, because I do know that the military actually does a lot of things that are top secret and we don't know about. Okay, so let's not be naive,
Sure, yeah.
about stuff. And so, but I think the fact that she's a U.S. In the U.S. reserves, also she has, she does have to be a little bit careful if she wants to maintain that. Me, I was like, I'm ready to get out. I didn't care, but
Time's up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So That's my opinion.
Okay.
You're asking my
Yeah.
opinion.
Well, no. It,
I know it's a long-winded opinion.
well,
But
it suits the issue though. It's not a clear cut. I mean, it says I don't think Romney's off the hook either. I mean,
I don't think so either. No, I think Romney. Well, I can't stand Romney. I mean,
really. Now there's a surprise.
I can't stand Romney.
Yeah.
I met him once. I was in
okay.
some round table with him. I mean, he was very much like he is like you see him. I mean, he looks like he is a Ken doll, made of plastic. I mean, he very much is the same. But I was in a round table when he came to St. Louis with some of the minority business owners or something, and he was there. But since then he has really, he's just been terrible. I think just been terrible, and I think he's just grasping at straws at trying to be relevant. Frankly.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, I agree.
He's just trying to hook onto Tulsi Gabbard's, popularity.
And she is
by
popular. She is very
sticking
popular.
his face in there.
Yeah. I truly, if she doesn't run for anything else, I think she will be. If there's a conservative cabinet or a conservative administration in the very near future, she'll be a member of the cabinet if she wants it. That would be the clue.
Well, I'm going to skip over this. We were going to talk about
What?
France, but who cares about France? Let's talk about Missouri.
No, we talk about Missouri, but at some point,
You want to talk about something about France?
only because the election is this.
Macron and Le Pen.
Le
How
Pen,
we
Le Pen, Le Pen.
How we say it in America.
Macron? Okay.
Macron.
This
and Le Pen.
is kind of like Brexit before Trump. Now this is their
Brexit. Before Trump. Okay.
before, or let's say breakfast.
You said you said breakfast. I think.
Well, Brexit. That's the third. No, write that down.
Breakfast before Trump.
Yeah, Brexit
You
before
must be
Trump.
hungry.
I am. They didn't have dinner at this event. Did I mention that?
No.
Yeah, broke
That's
my heart.
No good.
But anyway, this is kind of something that we need to watch. I mean, it's not. It's interesting. It's happening this Sunday.
Yeah.
They are the two survivors of the preliminary, and we got the president. The incumbent is a center left, and the challenger is a center right.
Mm-hmm.
The incumbent, no incumbent has won in the last 20 years for re-election. This is the challenger. This is her third try at it. The incumbent is not getting the far left support candidate is not supporting. The far left candidate is not supporting Macron. There's someone even further left than Macron.
Oh yeah.
And then Le Pen is getting support from that doesn't mean that
She's
they
to the
won't-
right. They say far right, but that's not far right here.
I don't know, not here at all.
In Europe and in other areas, the far right is really a little to the left, frankly.
Yeah, and France's version of it, they say that because there's two elections, unless somebody wins 50% the first time,
Right.
You vote with your heart the first time, and you vote with your mind and pocketbook the second time. But it's a prelude to what's going to happen in November and in 2 years from here. If the right-wing element wins in France, it's going to be an important message to, I think, the rest of Europe and definitely to America for our upcoming elections.
That sounds good. Okay, let's. We're going to take a break. It looks like.
Are we at the break time,
Yeah,
there, Mr.
we're
Engineer?
getting close to the break here, so we will be back, guys. Everybody, stay where you're at. We're going to come up with our apocalypse or bust segment, which is economics and business. We're talking about Musk. We're going to be talking about China, and masks and Biden. Hey, good stuff.
Sounds like a good agenda.
Right.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. We have a new half hour, so we have a whole new set of information for you that we want to share and educate you with.
Yep, we're starting on Elon Musk again. He's making news.
He's everywhere. I mean, the man's incredible. Yeah, it's
so apparently he's secured this $46.5 billion in funding for the Twitter bid.
Okay.
And he's apparently going to make a tender offer and that means directly to the shareholders.
Right.
As opposed to going through the board. So people are getting a little nervous, I guess.
They should. They should. Also, I didn't realize last week when we was talking about him that the board members were not very strong stockholders.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Very little, and they're getting like $100,000. Some of them's getting like $300,000 or $400,000 a year payment just to be on the board, which is not bad. But, I mean, they only meet 3 or 4 times, and they don't have any skin in the game. So it's only logical that he would go to the people, and they should have that's another thing, too, about responsibility here. If they're on the board and they get a tender offer and they're representing the interest of the stockholders, don't they have to notify the stockholders that they have this type of offer? They can't reject it outright, can they?
Yeah, he would go directly to the shareholders. Yeah. And they would have to either say yes or no. So I think Twitter's owned by a lot of people.
But you only have to capture 51%.
Yeah.
So that's what he's trying to do. To capture the board, you have to have 51%.
Yeah. Even though I think we talked about last week that one guy, the Prince, whatever his face
owns
is.
5%.
Yeah, he owns 5%. I think he's staunchly against it. So he would need, a lot more than, and I think that right now he is the second highest holder at 9%, right? Musk. So
Musk. Well, no, I thought Musk was the highest, but I've read there in what you're talking about. It does say, you're right. It does say that, but I was in the impression.
I think what they meant was the second, maybe. He's only held it for a short period of time. Like the other guy, the other Prince guy, he's held it for the longest. He's been the longest holding. But you're right. I think he only has 5%.
What do you think is going to happen if he does capture the hostile takeover? What if he captures the board? He gets control of Twitter. What do you see happening? I know what I would like to see, but
what Musk is going to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I think he's going to just revamp everything. I think. He says a few things. He's going to do he's going to change the platform, right?
Right.
That's for sure. And I think he's been talking about that for a while to make it easier and for everybody. And I think he's also going to probably, lift a lot of these bans or these, Twitter likes to censor everything. He's going to lift a lot of that stuff. So
we'll expose it.
Yeah.
Because they've had a lot of secrecy about their algorithms and how they control.
Yeah, that's why the redoing of the platform is going to be very important, right? Because he's going to be unleashing all this stuff. And who knows, Musk, I wouldn't put it past him if he's just going to put it out there. Say, hey, this is what was going on.
Right.
He would do that.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of people who got a personal interest besides a financial interest.
Yeah.
In keeping him out of there.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, they're really trying to stop him.
Now, if he's successful at this and he gets the algorithms and the shenanigans, I call it, that's been going on in the past in Twitter, you think this would have this? I'm saying this because this is what I believe. I think that the House of Representatives will start investigating some of these other companies that's been playing the same game and playing favorites to certain companies or certain political parties or certain interests, and then saying it's beyond their control. It's nothing we can do about it. When all along it's set in the programming.
Yeah. So
this has immediate effect on Twitter, but it also is going to have a long-term effect on other social medias. So this is really getting to be
So a lot of these kind of social media platforms, it's difficult, right? Because they don't want to expose or state what their algorithms are or how they do things
right.
because that's proprietary,
Right.
right? And they don't want that to be out there. But at the same time, so what you get a lot when you talk about social media is you get a lot of promises by the people that are telling you, hey, we're not going to do this with your information. We're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to, but how do we really know? We don't. We don't know. That's the point.
We trust.
Yeah, well, and we have to because there's no, for them to expose that would be for them to expose the proprietary stuff that makes them who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, the Big Mac special sauce or whatever, exposing that, even though we all know it's Thousand Island dressing, right? Don't we know that?
What did you use for using in the military? What did you use for salad dressing in the military?
Salad dressing? Who's eating salad in the military? Where were you at?
Ours was ketchup and mayonnaise.
Tabasco sauce.
Yeah, Tabasco
that's
sauce.
all we got in our meals, MREs, meals ready to eat, is Tabasco sauce.
Oh, that's right.
And believe me,
He was the
I
tough
used
guy.
it because half of the stuff tasted like vomit, so it was good.
Seasoning. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
that's okay.
So this is going to be a very interesting.
It is. It's going to be interesting, number one, to see if he can do it. Number two, if he does do it, what he does.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, I think, the most interesting part.
Right.
If it happens. So we can talk a little bit about Ukraine or Russia actually. I know you read a little bit about this, right? The Russian stocks, they're
Right,
going to remove, Putin signed a decree to remove the stocks from the overseas exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this is a big blow to the billionaires.
Yes. Who they can now? They've got to take it out of the foreign markets, which would be the German market is the DAX, and then the London is LSE, and then you got the Euronet. Japanese is Nikkei, and I don't know how much they do with U.S. Dow, but they're probably there through Blackstone or through Vanguard and stuff like that. But directly buying their stocks, I've checked the market quite a bit. I wouldn't know a Russian stock, but I do know they trade a lot on the Euronet.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And apparently, the economic blitzkrieg strategy that we've been doing, as along with other Western countries, he's saying that Putin says it's not working. Of course, we can't believe anything Putin says, but the Moscow's mayor says the city is about to lose 200,000 jobs.
That's that's not an easy thing to give up,
but do you think
especially with
some
the
of it-
Financial Times.
But do you
they
think
have
some of
now.
it's the war too? I mean,
Well, part of it is, a lot of American companies are moving out of Russia, and of course, Moscow would probably be one of the first places that they would enter in for business. So obviously, they'd be one of the first places they exited. Domino's and Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola.
we just talked about McDonald's, and they're
We did,
one of the
yeah.
first major businesses to withdraw
They are.
from Russia.
Which that's one of your favorite businesses, isn't it? How much do you and the boys invest in McDonald's every week?
I do like McDonald's. I like the Big Mac. That's
do?
That's my favorite sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the boys are into like double quarter pounder because it's like big,
Yeah.
or the double quarter pounder. I don't know
Yeah.
how big it gets. Oh, triple quarter pounder. Sorry.
Oh no, the triple cheeseburger. Like the triple quarter pounder or
There's
triple
a
cheeseburger?
triple quarter pounder.
Okay, wow, that is a
think.
lot of meat, and a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
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 So
They usually want two of them, so I don't know where that's going, but
God, two of them?
yeah, with fries and
but we
Right, with fries, yeah.
we hardly ever go to McDonald's. Okay, we always eat at home. So when we do go,
splurge.
they go a little crazy. Yeah, it's
cool.
okay. So too bad I don't have that China thing up. The China. But
Oh yeah.
supposedly they have a pact with Solomon Islands.
It's tragic. Yeah, they do.
And they say the agreement is just to increase cooperation in trade, education, and fisheries, but they don't want China to establish a military base. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true or not true?
No, that's what they're saying right now. The American delegation will be there probably next week or the week after that, and then they'll tell the American delegation that China is going to build ports, and they will build ports. They are located right outside of New Guinea and right outside of Australia. I say right outside to the east in the Pacific Ocean. Anything from any trade or anything that comes out of those two major markets, speaking of markets, will be in the near vicinity of Solomon Islands, and therefore under the observation and possible control of the CCP after the agreement's done. Solomon Islands was very important in World War II. It was, I mean, they have the movies, I mean, that comes out about Midway being important. Well, Midway was the first big, step where we could, send planes there. But Solomon Islands was equally as important as Midway. And that's in the war. And then you're talking about trade and navigational abilities throughout the Pacific. For them to have a fleet there would be, they're just hour or maybe a day or so away from Hawaii. So it's a major step by the Chinese. Coming from a country that normally doesn't exert themselves militarily upon the war.
Yeah,
this is
I
kind
don't
of
even
out
hear
of
about them.
Yeah, only time I've known it before is during the Korean War. The only time I ever heard about it, and that was because they MacArthur double crossed him. He really did. I'm not a MacArthur fan. I like military. I like strategies, but General MacArthur pulled a typical, beautiful Asian maneuver in Korea. After the North overran the South, took Seoul and bottlenecked all the Americans, South Koreans, and any NATO people that was there at the bottom of South Korea. The traditional European style. Now, the difference in the styles is Americans, we fight like the Europeans fought, and Europeans fought based on like a chessboard. You find the biggest target, and you surround it and you annihilate it.
Yeah.
Asians fight like the game of Go. It's like you don't have a big army.
Game of Go.
Go, G-O. It's a board game just like chess.
Go.
Go.
I've never heard of it.
Well, that's why who was it? Bernard Montgomery says that we cannot win a land war in Asia. Simply because they don't fight the way we do. It's completely different. But what they do, you spread your army out.
Obviously, it's not a very good popular game, right? Go.
Well, in Asia, it's real big.
I know, but not here.
No.
I've never heard of it. I've heard Go in Monopoly.
Go to San Francisco. They play it in San Francisco.
They probably do.
Yeah.
The communists.
But what he did was, and a typical Go strategy would be, Northern Korea invaded South Korea and pushed him down to the southern part of the peninsula, and then the allies that I would call was fortificated, and and they stopped him. And then of course North Korea was also fortificated in their part, even though they'd captured probably 3/4 of South Korea. Everyone thought that MacArthur, including Chinese and including North Korea, that MacArthur would come in to the south part of the peninsula. The reinforcements would stage there and then start to move the North Koreans back. He didn't do that. He came in the side at.
He flanked them.
He flanked them, and I forget the name of the place now. I'll have it in just a minute. But even after he flanked them, and they said, "Okay, you got North Korea to the left, and China on the other side of North Korea, and South Korea to the right." Instead of turning right and going after and coming in behind the North Korean army, which remember I said they was fortified, so they would.
Yeah, that's tough when someone's fortified.
He didn't. He made a left turn and went towards North Korea.
Taking a left turn at Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, and he captured. He was almost to China before the North Koreans realized that they're beat. I mean, their army is stuck down in South Korea. They're trying to fight Kinsan. He came in Kinsan. They was trying to come back and recollect. And and had he stopped at when they told him to stop, we would have had the war. but he wasn't ready to stop.
Well,
But that was, so that's
hindsight's 2020.
that's the strategy that we're pulling here in the Solomon Islands.
And I think the biggest part, the troubling part of this, is that there's no specifics about what has been signed. Something's been signed. Mm-hmm. They say this is only for fishing and resource management, but there's been no, they have not divulged, I guess, any of the specifics of this agreement. And I said, I guess that's the part that people are having a problem with. Because if there isn't anything to hide, then what,
spell it out.
Yeah, spell it out. But apparently,
so they're hiding something.
Waits
then.
to be seen.
Yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
Kind of like those bio labs in Ukraine, huh?
Right. Right. Yes, biolabs.
Spell it out. What are you doing there, guys?
So I was on Facebook the other day, and I lived in Florida for about 10 years. I think you know that. I was growing up. So I'm friends with a lot of my high school, people, and they're still in Florida. A lot of them are. And it's funny. I saw the other day, a few days ago, one of my friends was like, we're on a plane and we had our masks on, and the stewardess came in and said, everybody can take their masks off. We're not wearing masks anymore. And literally in mid-flight.
That's great.
Yeah. And so was a Florida flight, and so they said no more masks. And so everybody just took their masks off. They were so excited, and and I guess this came down. There was a Florida judge's decision, a district court, that stated that they're ending the sweeping mandates and dropping them for public transport. And so CDC apparently, or the Department of Justice, is going to appeal the ruling that eliminated these mask mandates for public transportation. Isn't there a better way for us to spend our taxpayer dollars than to have Department of Justice suing them over mandates? I mean, just saying.
A lot better way. Plus, it's confusing. I mean, if CDC, the judge says that we don't need it. The CDC, I think, is asking the DOJ to litigate this issue. But still, we got the southern border wide open.
Oh, right.
There's no mask there.
No.
There's no vaccination there.
No. They're just letting them in.
Yeah. Why is it so important that we put masks on travelers, especially in an airplane?
Yeah.
That is probably the some of the purest air or cleanest air. What are you going to call it?
I didn't know anything about the air in the plane until I traveled, last year, I believe it was. And they had this big explanation about how the air is circulated and how many times. It's like 90% fresh. Like most of the time they're taking it out of the air and recycling, and sending it out and bringing stuff in, so it's probably better than if you're in a building.
Unless it's a casino. Now, casinos probably have a little bit better.
Oh, well, yeah, they have to.
Yeah, because they got to get rid of smoke and all that. But, yeah, you're right. It's
especially now when you can't smoke on an airplane. I mean, I know in the 70s, it was like sitting there and you were in the smog,
Yeah, basically.
Smoke.
Good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, our engineer's a smoker, by the way. He reminisces.
Right. But now you can't. I mean, you can't do that. So, like, what is the problem? I mean, I remember when I flew and they were requiring me to put a mask on, and I was always pulling my mask down, because I was like, man, I can't breathe with this thing on, Oh, excuse me, ma'am, could you put your mask up, please? I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'd pull it back down again. I was.
But you could eat with it. You could take it off and eat, right?
Yeah, but only to eat. So you had to pull it down and put the food in your mouth, and then pull it back up again when you're chewing. Like that's what they wanted you to do. Completely ridiculous.
I never flew once during the.
Well, you weren't
pandemic.
missing anything. Yeah. So we'll see where this goes, and spending some of our money to fight something that's completely stupid to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
I hate taxes. I especially hate it recently that we had to file. I mean, they really do punish you for making money, and
They do. Yeah.
and it's your money.
And they waste it like crazy.
It is oppressive. Sorry, it's oppressive.
It's the waste really that bugs me.
That's more so,
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's so wasteful, and you work hard, and you're trying to provide for your family, and you have to write a check to Uncle Sam. For what? For them to do stupid stuff with your money. And it's just so wasteful when individuals know better how to spend their money than the freaking government any day of the week.
Now, what I'm about to say is not the worst waste of money, but it's probably one of the most recent worst waste of money. And I understand that we spent like $16 million this year for hotel rooms for illegal immigrants. And that's not to mention how much we spent flying them around the country.
Right.
So, and that's all on our dime.
Yeah.
We're paying for that.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you, immigration, the area of immigration is probably close to the area of taxes as far as being unchecked. You know, there's nobody, immigrants, they come here and they keep their head down and they try to get through the system. The system is completely jacked up. Okay. For people that want to do it legally. If you want to do it illegally, then all of a sudden doors are open. But if you want to do it legally, so much you have to pay and so many hoops you have to jump through. And these people, you know, they don't want to cause problems, even though the system is completely broken. And there's nobody really to speak for them, if you think about it, because they don't want to cause a stir because they just want to get through the system and get their green card or get their citizenship. So it's an area that is just bloated, and bureaucracy begets bureaucracy. I've said that before. It's so true. And the immigration code is made up of the laws and plus the policy guidance and all this other stuff that makes it. And it's very confusing area of law, and it's ridiculous, you know. And so is the tax code. Tax code same way, and taxes, you know, something that is incredibly oppressive. But I get off my soapbox here.
It would be a lot simpler if we just had a flat tax.
Yeah, or something, or have something other than what we have now, because this is just it's completely ridiculous.
Okay.
Now that we're
See, folks, my partner also has a soapbox. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I use it once in a while.
You do effectively.
So Biden
Yes.
is restoring the protections, climate safeguards, they call it,
Right.
in governing the construction of pipelines, highways, and other projects that I guess Trump had swept away as
Right.
part to try to get rid of this red tape stuff. And so now Biden is all about it. And, you know, I guess people are mad at him sometimes and not mad at him now because he's helping the environment,
No, he's not.
so to speak.
He's not. We talked about this. This is one of the reasons I wanted for us to discuss this a little bit tonight. A couple 3 weeks ago, we was talking about Rick Perry, and
The other Rick Perry.
the famous rich, good-looking Rick Perry.
No, not you, Rick.
No, the other
one.
one. Okay, the plain old Texan.
Confuse
Okay,
yourself.
yeah. Just folks, that's you believe in this environmental myth.
Oh, it's a myth.
Yeah. Let me explain to you just one little element, one little point that it shows how false this action is. Okay, and with this, we are not going to be able to build any pipelines or any refineries or any processing for natural gas in the future for export. 3 weeks ago on TV, and then we reported it on our show, that Rick Perry suggested that we try to convert natural gas to liquid natural gas, LNG, and transport it and sell it to probably one of the biggest polluters well, maybe the second largest polluter in the world, and that's India, who uses a huge amount of coal every year for energy, and it's probably some of the dirtiest coal you're ever going to find. Now, we are going to shut down a process that would eliminate a major polluter in the world, help their economy, help their industry, help our economy, and we're going to do it just because we think we got a greenhouse problem or whatever you want to. We got a global warming. It's stupidity.
You mean climate change? Now it's climate change.
Global
warming.
That's right. Yeah, it changes every. Depends on. Yeah, but I think they're stuck on climate change, or because John Kerry and thinks that it ought to be that way.
Yeah.
We're killing ourselves And we're killing our economy. We're killing jobs. Now I'm on a soapbox, folks.
Yes,
By the way,
soapbox it.
We're
Do
doing
it.
everything to so that we would some idiot in some university will be able to continue to get grants from the government as long as, and he will, he'll keep his tenure, and all of his colleagues will keep their tenure because they're going to support some theory that is truly false.
Yeah.
And we're going to pollute the world far, far more than we would had we just let progress do it, had we just let innovation do it, had we just let private industry do it.
Exactly.
And it's just so, that's why,
Yeah, this is.
I didn't want to get emotional about this. But
Oh no, it's okay. We're gonna get into emotionalism in the next segment with
we
Saki crying. Yeah,
when
that's
we
gonna
bring
be
the
a good
kids
one.
in. When we bring
No,
is the
no,
kid-
that's not emotional.
Are the kids going to get emotional? I don't know. Bubba looks pretty cool
I
tonight, but
don't.
his brother's over there
Yeah.
scheming, so.
No,
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of emotionalism in the Kensel household. It's
Really?
it's frowned upon.
Oh, that's good. That's really. You can sell that to a comedian.
Yeah. Good job.
So says the fiery Hispanic mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there is an emotion that we do tend to abuse, it's anger, right?
The best of them all.
Display it,
Display it freely.
Okay,
That's
all
one
right.
thing we do.
Okay. Well, it's honesty. That's good for marriage, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we will be back in our
Yes.
next segment with our Community Kids segment, and that's Children in Education. We're going to talk about the parental rights bill, including Saki crying. We're going to talk about the Florida law, actually what it does state. Missouri, we're going to talk about that because last week I didn't have enough info, but this week I do.
Okay.
On what Missouri's doing in that arena, and we're going to talk about Disney, which
Oh,
it'll be good.
I know you boys love Disney.
All right. Well, we will be back. Stay right here.
This is SR1.
Welcome back. Next victim on our assassination list, or character assassination list, is our favorite press secretary.
Good old Jen Psaki. I know everybody's probably heard this by now, but it's still kind of funny.
Entertaining.
It's entertaining. I don't think I get tired of listening to this. All right, here we go. Let's listen to what she has to say.
That gay marriage was affirmed by the Supreme Court was my favorite day in the White House under President Obama. I was 8 months pregnant, so I was also kind of emotional, and I don't know. But what I will say is the political games and harsh and cruel attempts at laws that we're seeing in some states like Florida, that is not a reflection of the country moving to oppose LGBTQ plus communities. That is not what we see in data. That is not factual. And that is not where things stand. This is a political wedge issue and an attempt to win a culture war. And they're doing that in a way that is harsh and cruel to a community of kids, especially. I'm like going to get I'm going to get emotional about this issue because it's horrible. But you know, it's like kids who are bullied, and like all these leaders are taking steps to hurt them and hurt their lives and hurt their families. And you look at some of these laws in these states, and it is going after parents who are in loving relationships who have kids. It's completely outrageous. Sorry. This is an issue that makes me completely crazy, but it is an issue that is a political wedge issue. It is not a reflection of where the country is. And what people should understand is what we're talking about here in Florida, for example, okay, I'm going to pull my stuff together now, is that, you know, families, if you have a kid in a classroom, and I have a kindergartner, right? I can imagine her saying, you know, my friend has 2 moms, my friend has 2 dads. And the teacher in her classroom, I would hope, would say, that's wonderful. They're loving parents and you have a mom and a dad. This is penalizing teachers and educators. I mean, there are so many layers of this that are outrageous, and I hope people continue to educate themselves on this because it is a bad side of politics, is what I will say.
I've never heard that before, so I got to. What was the platform? Who was she talking to?
It's just a podcast, and she was being interviewed in a podcast. Yeah, so she started weeping
and going
sobbing,
going after the parents who love their children. They're not talking about the FBI investigating the parents who go to school boards. I assume that's not part of what she's talking about.
No, she's talking about the Don't Say Gay bill, so in Florida and things like that. And she's saying that there's that's not how America feels about transgender and gay and whatever, LGBTQIA, and that it is definitely not reflective, I guess is what she's saying. Yeah. But she said it's just a culture war, trying to win the culture war. So she's admitting that there's a war as a culture war, first of all. And then she's crying about the fact that, you know, we can't, supposedly the teacher, if somebody says, I have 2 moms or so-and-so has 2 dads, that the teacher can't comment on that. And I'm not sure that that's even accurate about this bill. Okay, so what I want to say, number one, I think it's ridiculous she's crying, and there's just complete alligator tears, crocodile tears, whatever you want to call it. What do you think about that, Brevin? Crocodile tears.
Well, did she say penalizing? Or was I the only one who heard that?
Yes, that's how you say it. Penalize, or you can say penalize, but she did say penalize.
Okay.
But but the thing is this, right? She was sobbing.
Yeah.
And then
she went from like, you know, 0 to 60. It was the opposite. She went from 60 to 0. Yeah. And usually that's pretty not good in the laws of physics.
Right. And it's also not genuine, you know. I mean, I think all the Florida law, for example, she doesn't know. It's all hype. Like what she's doing is all hype, right? And she's trying to appeal to individuals that feel a certain way about transgender children. Because we're talking about children here. We're not talking about transgender individual people, adults. Okay, we're talking about children. That's what this is all about. This isn't about, hey, if you have a homosexual cousin or if you have somebody who's transgender in your family that's an adult. Okay, whatever, right? They're an adult. We're talking about educational system indoctrinating children about sex that may not be your values, right? Indoctrinating them about sex at an early age. We're talking kindergarten through 3rd grade, right? Mm-hmm. So her crying and sobbing over something that is fake, and it doesn't even make sense because it's not what the Florida law is doing. I'm going to just read real quick for you guys what the Florida law, parental rights in education, actually does. And that the one part, which is what everybody's focusing on, isn't the entire law. Okay? The majority of this law is really trying to give power back to the parents in the educational system. So here it says here, requires district school boards to adopt procedures that comport with certain provisions of the law for notifying students' parent of specified information, requires such procedures to reinforce fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding upbringing and control of their children, prohibits school districts from adopting procedures or student support forms that prohibit school district personnel from notifying parents about specified information, or that encourages students to withhold from parents such information. So a lot of this is really just a free flow of information for the parents when they have a child in public education. And it goes on. It says discouraging or prohibiting parental notification and involvement in critical decision making, which means it prohibits personnel from discouraging that. And it prohibits classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in certain grade levels, such as kindergarten through third grade, which I think everybody's focusing on. It requires school districts to notify parents of healthcare services, authorize parents to bring action against school district to obtain judgments, provide for additional award of injunctive relief, and reasonable attorney's fees. So that's like a synopsis of the Florida law. Why? I don't see anything wrong with this. This is parents' rights to information about their child that goes to a public school.
And
I
that
agree.
makes Jen Psaki cry.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, you know what makes me cry is the fact that the United States is probably 33rd or 35th in math in the world, math education. And we have a press secretary who's so emotional about some problem that she's creating in her mind.
Yeah. That's not even related to really education of the child.
None. Zero. Zip. Zilch.
No. I mean, where's she crying, too, about, like, all the abortions and millions of children that have been killed?
That didn't even have the chance to
That
go to
didn't
school.
have the chance to go to school. You know, she's not crying about any of that. I think it's very hypocritical, and it's
self-serving for her agenda.
yeah, absolutely.
That's all she's doing. She's trying to sell, these poor little children. They,
Poor little children won't be able to talk
Yeah.
about sex.
yeah.
it's very perverse. I mean, to a normal person, that's
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's
Kind of like
that's-
what you're reading in school right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm reading Brave New World, and I gotta tell you, it's absolutely disgusting. Like it's just a horrible book. And in fact, today I had to write a essay about how their culture is impacting our culture today, like how
How
we,
it relates. Yeah.
yeah, how we are becoming like that culture. Like they're sexualizing children in like a bizarrely perverse way. It's just horrible, horrible ways. And
Yeah.
we are becoming like them. It's very scary. Like in the book Brave New World, they have you hooked on this drug called Soma. And it kind of reminds me of how medical industries are trying to hook us on drugs at an early age right now. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Big pharma and all that.
Yeah.
big pharma.
Yeah, the children are in earlier and earlier. I mean, pharmaceuticals, that's a huge industry. And he's right about that. I mean, we are doing it at a very young age now. And the sexualization of children, that's happening.
It is.
And yeah, Brave New World is a very interesting book. I'm having the boys read it because if you haven't read it, everybody needs to read it.
Is this fiction or nonfiction?
It's
or?
fiction. It's
Okay.
fiction. It's about a futuristic world. And,
Okay.
and it's very eerie how there's similarities there. They also read 1984, which is also a very good book.
I prefer that book. It doesn't make me want to hurl as much.
Right.
1984.
Yeah, didn't want you want to write Earl.
No, I've heard of 1984, obviously, but I never heard of the Brave New
Oh
World.
yeah, it's something else.
Hmm.
It's something else, but it is about a utopia, so to speak, utopia, and The sexualization of children is very real. That's happening now because
Absolutely.
it's ridiculous beyond belief that Saki or whatever her name is crying over the non-sexualization of children.
Yeah, basically what it boils down to.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it. Well,
Because nobody can influence their children. They won't have as much influence over the children as the family does. And apparently her side of the government doesn't
they
agree.
want more. And we have given up some of our rights with
lot.
that.
Too
And
many.
in this book, Brave New World, they talk about that they send these children. These children aren't raised by parents. They're sent over to a center, and they're raised there. I mean, they're made there, actually, too. It's the hatchery, London Hatchery. So they're made there, and they grow up there, and they're raised by the government. And so...
Do they ever get parents?
No. There are no parents. Yeah. It's just raised by the
Wait a
government.
minute,
It's all weird.
No child support?
No. I know now this is sounding like a real utopia to you, Rick.
Yeah.
Back to Jen Psaki thing. It was. I just thought it was really funny. It cracked me up when I heard her speak, and she was like, "I'm so sad that kids are getting sexualized." Anyway, I'm done speaking. I'll take any further questions.
Okay, yeah.
Right. She was very, really quick to dive out of that one. And
Yeah, once you got her agenda out there. that's-
Yeah. Then she's like, okay, we'll move on. But I will be proud to say the Missouri House here in Missouri passed the Parents' Bill of Rights and in the House. So it's going to the Senate where, everything dies.
Yeah.
But we are hoping it is an election year, and we're hoping that maybe the Senate will pass it. Maybe there's enough momentum in what they've seen in Florida and in other states that'll get them moving in the right direction. We can only hope. But it does similar. It gives parents transparency in public education, basically, and gives parents the right to know what's going on with their kids and what's being taught in schools.
I just read this, as you know, after I got back from the event, and I noticed that there's some wording in there that's addresses the CRT portion of it.
Yeah.
And like
right.
I was telling you at the break that the CRT legislation that was passed by the House was defeated in the Senate.
Yeah.
By the rhinos, Republicans in name only.
Yeah, really get rid of those
Maybe
people.
this approach, which would have a broader Republican, if not necessarily a conservative, because we know the conservatives feel that way, but a broader Republican appeal would, with the language combined, would support both sides of it.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I think it says here the bill outlines ideas related to Title 4 and 5 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that teachers and students cannot be compelled to adopt, affirm, or profess, including but not limited to the individuals of any race, ethnicity, color, or national origin who or basically say that they are inherently superior or inferior, and that individuals by virtue of their race or nationality, blah, 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 are responsible for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race. I love the way they're saying this.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, CRT.
Wordsmithing it, yeah.
Right, the wordsmithing it, but basically saying it applies to everybody.
Right.
Why are we getting blamed? Why are white people getting blamed for something that they didn't do, that happened in the past? Why is that all of a sudden everybody else's fault? That's never been the case before. Why is it the case now? Which is what CRT does.
Yeah. And they isolated it to one race.
Right.
Like I told you about a month ago, I have slave blood in me, but I'm white. And the slaves that was my ancestors were white also.
Yeah. Irish, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously. It's an atrocity. Having slaves and all of that obviously is something that nobody wants to own up to,
No.
especially not today. But, so if you had somebody in your past that did that has no reflection on you as a person.
None. Zero.
None.
Yeah.
So it's like saying because Hitler was so crazy and terrible that all Germans are terrible. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
That's not the German people didn't commit the atrocities. It was Hitler's regime that committed the atrocities. So let's put blame where blame should be, with the individuals that committed these atrocities, and not just everybody.
And any slave owner in the United States has been dead for you almost 100 years now.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. I mean, and slavery
gone.
continues.
Yeah.
You know, sex trafficking.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, there's two forms of slavery: working someone without paying them, and paying them without working them.
Right.
This government is sending a lot of people checks at home, and they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And if they do get up and get a job, or if they do get up and try to advocate against the lifestyle that being provided for them, they'll lose their paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's.
Oh, I hear you. So I'm hopeful that Missouri maybe will get its act together and pass it.
Exactly.
Even if they take out the CRT part and keep in, that they have a right to review curricula, books, instructional materials, that it has to be somewhere. The curriculum has to be specific as to what, and accessible on the school's website, and for anybody to be able to go up and see what's being taught by whom. I think that in of itself will give more power to the parents, because right now that's not happening. You don't know what's being taught in school.
No, you don't. I'd like to add one other thing that happened at the event tonight. One of the speakers was the state treasurer, who's a candidate this year for the state auditor's office.
Yeah.
And he's, I guess, a few years ago, the auditor's office also obtained the authority by which to audit school boards. Mm-hmm. And he said that there's very few school boards have been audited, but that we are going to find out a lot more about the financial functions of the schools and the school boards under a new administration, under a new auditors, put it that way.
Good.
So that'll be interesting too, to see what kind of goes along with cracking down on schools. Basically, they've had the free look at universities.
Oh yeah.
It's sickening what happens there, and the salaries we pay professors who tenure and teach one or two classes a semester. That's what's Elizabeth Warren made $750,000 a year teaching one class at Harvard. And the truth be known, she probably had a TA in the classroom 90 to 95% of the time.
Yeah.
So that's, talk about waste.
Yeah, that is definitely waste. Well, let's get to Disney, because they're making all kinds of news lately. Now, last time we talked about we played a little bit of the Disney Reimagined Tomorrow executives, leaked.
Yes.
And so I want to play a little bit of it tonight again. And this was a part we didn't get to, but it relates directly to an upcoming series that's coming in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's called what is
Have
it
you heard
called?
this?
Moon Girl.
Yeah, the Moon Girl.
And Devil Dinosaur.
Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah. Okay. So let's hear a little bit about what the executives, one of the executives that actually worked on this series.
Team for the last 2 years, and they've been really open to exploring queer stories.
I'm going to go back.
Working with the Moon Girl team for the last 2 years, and they've been really open to exploring queer stories. And I'm on the production side. Part of the work that I feel like I can put in is making sure that we take place in modern day New York. So making sure that that's like an accurate reflection of New York. So I put together like a tracker of our background characters to make sure that we have like the full breadth of expression. And we got into a very similar conversation, Carrie, of like, oh, all of our like gender nonconforming characters are in the background. And so it's not just a numbers game of how many LGBTQ plus characters you have. We got the further, the more centered a story is on a character, the more nuanced you get into their story. And especially with like trans characters, you can't see if someone is trans. There's not one way to look trans. And so kind of the only way to have these like canonical trans characters, canonical asexual characters, canonical bisexual characters is to give them stories where they can like be their whole selves.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a dude.
that's a dude.
My gosh, sweet Zeus and something.
I was a girl.
I forgot.
Oh, there's not one way to look trans. Well, if you are a woman, you got big hands and
Big feet. Don't forget
just
about
strangely flat
And an Adam's
chest.
apple.
Yeah,
You mean a trans girl?
yeah. You
Because
got
you're a man dressed up like a woman. Yes, that's a little obvious.
They
And
got
on
that
the-
spotchy beard that you was talking about last week, don't they? That imperfect beard, wouldn't that be a...
Oh yeah, giveaway.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a certain look, I think,
Yeah,
to trans.
it's also like hormones too. That also gives out the beard.
Is that right?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that why it's spotty and
yeah, they
spiky?
grow thin. That's why it's real thin.
It doesn't look natural because when you pump yourself full of unnatural things that aren't supposed to be in your system, you're just not going to look.
Little battle going on there, isn't
Yeah, it's like, hey, wait a minute, it's not supposed to be here.
it? Yeah. Yeah.
And then you end up with a really bad beard.
I've never had a good beard.
Now, apparently, we looked into this Moon Girl series, and it's supposed to come out in the summer. This summer,
Oh,
and it's
goody.
on Disney Channel. Disney, and Lawrence Fishburne is the executive producer of it.
Okay, Roy?
Yeah, that's the Matrix guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
He had a hot girlfriend. He used to date Victoria Dillard.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know who that is, but
She's hot.
All right, I will take your word for it.
Okay. That's my expertise field. there.
All right, great. So we looked at this, and we looked at. They didn't really. They said they had some kind of reveal or something, but it was just a really
it
short
was a teaser. It was just something.
teaser trailer.
It's more like giving away the art style and maybe the theme of it.
That was art. Okay, to me, it looked like they just spray painted a monkey and threw it on the canvas. Boom, art. That's all it makes.
Well, you know, NFTs.
That's all it takes.
One
Anyway.
man's art's another man's trash, right?
Right,
Yeah.
that's true. And the interesting part about this is that they've got a lot of characters. They've got this Casey and James Jr. and Adria, and I guess some of these are her friends. 13-year-old Puerto Rican Jewish girl.
What?
Casey is Moon Girl's manager and her best friend. Manager of what? I don't know.
Oddly specific.
Yeah, and her mother is a social activist.
You go, girl.
So, so that's kind of obvious right there.
Yeah.
What that's all about and how that's going to be portrayed.
Of course, the world doesn't have enough social activists.
No,
We could always use
we can always use more,
Something
especially
interesting.
in a cartoon for kids. What a
give
perfect
them
idea!
a career goal to go. Yeah, look at that woman.
Yeah,
She's
look
a
at this person.
So something interesting about the teaser, it was like, it had a song that said, if you didn't know, now you know, or something like that. Like, basically, if you didn't know this, well, now you know this. It was, now you know this. And it was like,
Okay.
it was a song, and that's just, it's hinting towards social activism being a main part of this
All right.
demon dinosaur and mooning girl.
Devil, dinosaur.
Also, I'd like to say that
What
I
is
mean
that?
I got a Catholic bracelet on with a prayer, and the devil dinosaur thing. The devil's really not an image for you just to throw on a kids show.
Yeah,
And-
I agree there.
It's not.
Right. Right. Marvel, and it's a Marvel thing.
That's
Too.
oh right,
Marvel.
right.
What?
Marvel's Moon
so
Girl.
It's not,
What?
It's not Disney?
Yeah.
It's Disney. Disney took over Marvel.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What, they did that like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Rick.
No, they didn't. Not 10 years ago.
Well, they did
okay,
a while
okay.
ago. They've been
Okay.
doing
2 months.
Marvel.
You were still
Phil, get back here. We need our engineer's not working out for us tonight. Yeah. Give me another shot, would you? Huh? Come on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would. Geez, Disney has really fallen, absolutely fallen. And their stocks are falling too, apparently.
Huge.
So
Yeah.
I saw this article that said the magic is gone for Disney investors. That's true.
where'd all the magic go?
Where'd the magic go?
See, they're about to lose $200 million a year in taxes to the state of Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So there was a special district that was for them. I mean, for them specially, just
Yeah.
them, Disney. They had a special district, which meant that Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida, was basically they could do whatever they want environmentally, structure-wise. I mean, they were pretty much exempt from everything in this special district. And it's 55 years old. It's been around for a long time, and they're going to lose it.
Exactly.
They're going to lose it.
I have no idea where this idea even came from. Why would they do this to Disney? Maybe because they aren't upholding the law.
Or they're challenging the law.
They're challenging the law.
Yeah. Some of the surrounding hotels and restaurants that have been given special breaks on taxes and so forth like that. That's going to go away. That's
Yeah,
And-
so
and-
DeSantis, I guess what happened was the House voted to dissolve the district, and also others that were established before 1968. Okay, and the Senate passed the measure yesterday. So DeSantis gets on his desk. He's going to sign it.
Yeah, well,
And
DeSantis
Disney's-
at this point can just be called DeSanta. So.
Santa. Yeah, hey, I like that. That's a good idea.
Merry Christmas! It came early.
Just to give an example, just exactly how smart the Democrat politicians or the Democrat leaders are. Disney Orlando has had an offer to move their location to Colorado.
Really?
Yeah, I mean the theme of Disney itself is like the Pirates of the Caribbean and Tropics
yeah.
and Florida land. How's that going to fit in the Rocky Mountains and the snow and the
Come on, kids, let's go swim.
I mean
With the polar bears.
with the polar bears?
Maybe
Yeah,
they can change the theme.
Yeah, what do they call that when they dive in the water that's freezing?
So Colorado's going to
Polar
take
Bear
them, maybe,
Club.
huh?
Yeah, is it polar bear? Is that what it's called, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Breva do it sometimes.
really?
It's
They,
actually
they
really
do.
really fun. You get an adrenaline rush out of it.
It's,
That's cool.
I mean,
They say it's invigorating.
we don't have we don't go to a club or anything. It's just we have a frozen pond sometimes, and
Yeah, it's a pond, and they jump in.
I mean sometimes it gets too frozen, so we have to get a pickaxe and break through the ice.
Well, in a couple of years, you can go to Colorado and they'll supply the pickaxe for you. You just pay $100 to go in the theme park and jump in the cold water. I mean, it's just
The polar bear.
Yeah,
I got my own pickaxe though.
You got your own. Well, the governor of Colorado is trying to draw.
Trying to draw in Disney.
Yeah, from Orlando. I mean, that's what.
Well,
There's
I
no-
mean, I don't know. They might not have a choice. I mean,
It'd
he
be
is
like- well,
This could be a huge hit.
that would
'cause-
be like Santos or Santa.
yeah, Santa.
Santa.
DeSanta.
Santa, saying, going to Pikes Peak and saying, or to what is it, Steamboat, the ski lodge. There's is it Steamboat Springs or something like that?
Oh.
Steamboat Willie.
No, anyway, it's say, well, we're gonna build a big hill and we're gonna supply snow on it, and you guys can come and do all your skiing down here.
Yeah.
Ski Lodge Willie.
Yes, but Steamboat Springs is what it is.
Oh, Steamboat Springs.
It's a skiing resort, and I mean, it's just stay in your lane, Colorado. That's not your.
Well, they're apparently with this district, they were allowed to float tax-free municipal bonds. Okay, so if it's repealed, it could leave Osceola and Orange counties on the hook for nearly $1 billion in bond debt.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Democrats said that it really could impact.
cool. $1 billion in bond debt.
Yeah, get on it. Now, they're crying, saying this is punishing us. But so
Oh, they deserve it.
Yeah, maybe Elon Musk should buy out Disney.
sure.
Somebody should save them.
And
Can't
with
do it
that-
all.
Yeah,
sadly.
yeah.
That's true.
And with that, I think we are at the end of our segment, and
Right.
we are going up into our next segment, Fun with a capital U, Entertainment and Sports, let's talk about Biden's gaffes. It's always fun.
They're numerous.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
We're talking about a cat fight between Senator Warren and Senator Pelosi. I don't know if anyone wants to see that.
I haven't heard about it, but I'd
But
love
we've
to.
got some other things. Johnny Depp, that guy, and his
Is he acting on stage in courtroom, or is he?
Who knows? I mean, he's an actor. Who knows?
He's a good actor.
All right. Well, we'll be back soon. Stay with us, okay, guys? We'll be back.
All right.
Rick and Hasha.
This is SR1.
Welcome back. We're about to have a conversation about our newest and least effective president we've ever had.
Oh, I know. It's funny, but it's almost sad. You know,
It
I
is.
mean, it is just terrible watching these things, or listening, and you know, so everybody's taking notice. This is the thing. This is worldwide. Like, people are watching the United States and watching their leader, and the things that he's doing. So this has been a string of gas by Biden in the past week. You know, it's been one after another after another. So we can't help it. We're just going to have to let me play this one clip here. This is it's actually, I don't even know who this is, but this is it's another outside the United States a news site. So this is they're talking about the leader of the free world. Here we go.
Check in with the leader of the free world, who today had this important message to impart.
Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on. In February, the families of 9.
This is what he said, word for word. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on. It's little wonder that he's become the subject of mockery around the world.
That's true. I mean, I would feel bad for Biden, except when he was sane, he was kind of a jerk.
Right.
So now it's just neutral. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Bidens are all corrupt.
Yeah, they
I
are.
mean, they're just very
They are.
corrupt people.
Cartel.
I mean, Hunter Biden,
James.
he's
The brother.
betraying the country just to get, his next shot of cocaine.
Shot of cocaine?
I don't know.
Did
I don't know
you-
what they do.
Did you hear his press conference today?
Today, no, I'm not sure if I did or not. We did I think everybody's seen the shaking hands, right, with the air. That's been ad nauseum. Then the Easter Bunny, when he looked like he was very surprised. The
Yeah.
Easter Bunny came out of nowhere. He looked like he was like afraid for his life. But what happened today?
Today he was asked whether or not he was going to extend the Title 42.
Oh, right.
And he said that the CDC has convinced the DOJ that this should be litigated. And that the DOJ is going to, he confused the mask issue.
With immigration.
Yeah. And then they had the issue after he was gone. They said, okay, well, he was talking about, the mask and not the border, or,
Well, it wasn't the question, people.
it wasn't the
It is crazy. They need to get this guy. I mean, they need to get him out of the public eye.
But what do we do? What do we put in? Her?
Kamala.
I don't know.
Cackling Kamala.
I'm in the 25th Amendment is actually, it's the way to go now.
Yeah, the
But
disability.
but can we take both at the same time? Can we take her and him?
Yeah, we're really
Right there,
we're really between a rock and a hard
we
place,
are,
aren't we?
Yeah,
I
and that's
mean,
going to leave us with Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, I mean, we're studying the Constitution in our class. and
Yeah, we are.
studied that amendment specifically
What's an
because
amendment?
of
25th.
stuff.
Yeah.
The 25th, the disability of the president.
Yeah.
That
needs to be.
How
used.
in the world are we going to still keep functioning? It's just, I mean, obviously Biden's not in control. Obviously he's not. There's nothing to indicate that he is.
It makes you wonder
No.
who's really in control.
Right.
Well, if the interview with Obama a couple of weeks ago, when Obama, they asked him about, not being president anymore, or I forget exactly what led up to it, but his reply was, he says, well, he wouldn't want to be president. He says, however, if I could be like the chief advisor and stay in my basement and wear my sweats, that would be okay, which is basically probably,
what he's
happening now.
doing, yeah.
yeah. Which he wasn't that good of a president either.
No,
That's the sad part. I
he was
mean,
not.
had he been a Reagan or even a Truman, I'd be happy with a Truman. But I mean, he was probably the most, up till that time, the most anti-American president we've ever had. I mean, he hated, Now, Biden just hates the country. You cannot do this much damage this fast without hating what the people you're representing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
He should have never run. I mean,
no,
absolutely not.
I think it's very obvious that he is just completely not fit to be president. I mean, it's not even a question anymore.
No.
He was shaking hands with the air.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 4-finger point, Brevin. Come on.
Yeah.
Have you?
Come on.
I mean, it would still be considered strange because he was doing it like at the back of the stage
right.
instead of the
Well,
stage.
not-
Well,
yeah.
Have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed how Joe Biden looks like the devil in like most of his speeches? Like, have you ever noticed?
Dark eyes. I mean, like black
Exactly.
eyes. Yeah.
His black eyes.
Yeah.
They got him on something.
Yeah,
And they
that's
got him on a
true.
heavy dose. That's why, like, you never see too many close-up cameras in his face. He's always wearing his sunglasses.
Yeah.
You ever
Yeah,
notice
when
that?
he's outside, yeah. For
And
sure.
he is, you're right. He's got to be heavily medicated. That's got to be what it is.
Yeah.
And, when the Easter Bunny recently drove him away from
Yeah.
answering those questions and, the look on his face, it looked like he was like so surprised and he didn't know where he was and what the he looked scared of the Easter Bunny.
What is this?
And it was like they were, trying to get him away because he
Yeah.
started talking about Afghanistan and Iran or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's the exit of Afghanistan exit. That's what they was asking about.
yeah.
He is at this point literally a living puppet. It's not.
Yes. Manchurian candidate, but not so poised as the Manchurian
Yeah,
Candidate.
that was Denzel Washington, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah, well, and then there was the earlier one, the older movie. That's the one I saw. I didn't see the
you're
latest one.
You must be older than I am.
Yes, I think that's true. I think that's true. Yeah, I don't know.
What else?
I'm
can
at a
we
loss
do
for
this
words
guy?
here
Yeah.
because I just think it's very sad. It's sad and it's also
Pathetic.
embarrassing.
It is,
It's
yeah.
embarrassing. We are a joke to the world right now because of Biden.
There's actions
We're a
going
joke.
around the world that shouldn't be going. That's being done because he's weak.
Yeah, well, I mean, the people who tried, the citizens who tried to elect him, they still got what they wanted because they did not want Trump, and
They would do anything to get rid of
Yes.
Trump. Yeah.
And now look
now
at him.
Trump's probably going to run again.
If he doesn't, I hope his son does. Not this time, but soon. Oh, speaking of next time around, they say Bernie's going to run in 2024.
What?
Coming out,
Bernie
he's-
Sanders?
He's in the gym right now, working out, doing the sweats, and doing the exercising, and punching the speed bag and the power bag.
It's like
and-
Rocky.
Exactly. That's
Just
yeah.
like Rocky.
Yeah. He's going to come back for Bernie 4. It's going to be.
Still going to be drinking the rides.
Well, let's talk about this cat fight between Senator Warren and
Meow.
Senator Pelosi.
Yeah.
Let's listen up.
Swipe at Speaker Pelosi.
Swipe.
What's that about? Why, my oh my, Senator Warren says banning members of Congress from trading stocks should be a top priority for Democrats ahead of the 2022 midterm elections. In a New York Times op-ed, she actually calls out Nancy Pelosi, saying in part, quote, whether you're a Republican senator or the Democratic Speaker of the House, dig, it is obvious to the American people that they should not be allowed to trade individual stocks and then vote on laws that affect those companies. She went on to
So, yeah, she had a little swipe there at Senator Pelosi because I think she's the one. Pelosi is the one that's saying that, no, we shouldn't do that. And
Cat swipe.
yeah.
And that kind of, I understand, isn't it something like someone living in a glass house throwing something? I forget exactly what the.
throwing stones.
Yeah, I mean, just last section we was talking about her making $750,000 a year. Not teaching. Or
It's
teaching
all
in class.
hypocritical. Yeah, hypocritical. She's definitely just, signaling that she's virtue signaling. That she's somehow. I mean, what's his face? He's just as bad. Bernie Sanders. He's
never had a real job in his life.
Yeah,
in
never a real
politics,
job,
and he's a
and-
multimillionaire.
yeah. He's talking about the average person and the average and
Yeah.
What do they know about the
yeah.
average person? Nothing.
He wants to forgive the student loans.
Yeah.
And the idea about that is, I don't know if they realize, but 70% of the student loans are owed by white professionals. You're not, if you're doing this to help the minority or to help the downtrodden or help the down and out, you're doing it for the wrong reason, folks. Because that's not who owes the money, and it's also $30 billion a year revenue for the government on the interest. So we're gonna forgive the loans, the people that can honestly afford to pay it if they would, and then raise the taxes on people that can't afford to pay it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got our priorities.
So messed up. They're messed up.
Yeah.
And then
I'll tell you who doesn't have their priorities messed up.
Who's that?
Is some Iraqi guy that did an M&M tower, and now he's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
All right.
And he stacked 7 M&Ms, and that's the record.
7's the record?
7 is the record. I thought that blew me away.
You're kidding.
I can
No.
even stack 2. So
7.
No, I just read an article last month about a guy who stacked 5 M&Ms and won the world record.
Well, then there
now
was
it's in
6. No, there was 6, and now there's 7. So 7 is the number to beat, everybody. If you want to be in the Guinness Book of World Records, you have to stack 8 M&Ms.
Hey, what do you think happens to the records that are beaten? Do they just take those away?
No,
No.
they stay. Yeah, but they stay in older Guinness Books of World Records.
Right.
Yeah, I was
in other
thinking that
Guinness
would be-
books, you'll be, but then you'll be, supplanted by the next person. So,
Yeah.
So, but he had a person there, sitting there, looking, and was part of the Guinness World Record. I guess they have these people that go and
Verify.
make sure verifier. So he was there.
That's a job I want.
There you go.
Guinness verifier. That's
The previous record was set by Australian Brendan Kelby. He was
Now,
22.
who set this one? What was this, American
This
or
guy, no, this is an Iraqi man.
Iraqi? Okay, he said that.
Yeah. Ibrahim Sadek. He's 29. He's 29 and he's stacking M&Ms.
He might be able to break his own record again.
Yeah, it's his passion, isn't it? He's been trying to do it for
It
many
has
years.
become an unusually competitive Guinness World Record category. Well, yeah, because everybody's like, wait a minute, I could do that. I could stack 7 M&Ms.
And then you get a lumpy M&M.
I don't think I could do the
falls over.
peanuts, the M&M peanuts.
I think it's because they are kind of rounded. They're not really, they're not flat. They're rounded.
yeah.
So you would really have to be careful. Now I bet every single one of our listeners are going to be trying to stack those M&Ms.
Both of them. Both of them right now. They're tearing open that little bag. And,
tearing them open. Time for us to stack them.
Being on the sports section, and I don't think this is on our agenda, but I just thought
that's
about it.
okay.
Did you see where Wimbledon?
Yeah, that's on our agenda.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All
That's
right.
fine. We can get to it. Here.
Okay.
Wimbledon, yeah. They did what? Two
What?
countries have been banned. Right?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Belarusia and our favorite, Russia.
Russia.
Yeah, they're
Belarus.
Belarus, yeah.
Banned from the tournament. So last week, tennis player was losing her toenails, and this week, 2 countries have been banned from Wimbledon.
I mean, they're
We're all about tennis.
we are It's about sports and competition. Yeah.
I really don't know anything about Wimbledon. But I know somebody had lost their toenails last week.
I guess it's the most prestigious event in the tennis world, kind of like the Masters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
golf.
Wimbledon's a big deal,
Yeah.
but tennis. I don't know much about tennis.
What kind of a name is Wimbledon?
British.
Yeah, it's actually spelled.
Wimp?
No,
Wimbledon.
it's actually spelled Wimbledon. Wimbledon, but it's pronounced Wimbledon.
Yeah, we murdered it so long, well, they just changed it. Kind of like my high school English teacher. That's enough. Okay, go with it.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And I was just commenting this past week on how cold it is. Would it get to be summer already, or whatever, or spring? I mean, can it be spring for a little bit before it becomes summer?
Is that tomorrow? When does spring start?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it starts in March, doesn't it?
But we don't have it nearly as bad
I'm telling you, since we won
as a North Dakota town that had 4 feet of snow this past week.
Oh, cool.
4 feet of snow.
Wow. Okay.
That is crazy.
Is it not April or?
Yeah, in April, yes. And they don't have snow this late usually, even in North Dakota.
No.
But apparently this is setting records. Late season snow.
It's that
4
global warming,
feet.
man. That's
Right.
what's doing it.
Yeah.
No, it's climate change.
Climate
Earth is-
change, yeah.
Earth is getting hotter. That's scientific fact.
4 feet of snow later. It's climate change.
So it's in the city of Minot. Or Minot. I don't know. Minot, North
Minot,
Dakota.
yeah.
Dakota.
There's a
North
big-
Dakota.
Dakota.
There's a big Air Force base there.
Yeah. But it struck on April 12th. That was just last week. And continued for 48 hours.
Dakota.
So nuts.
Oh, it snowed for 48 hours. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And they got 4 feet.
No school, kids.
You know, they got, I don't know if you lived ever in a cold environment like that before, but, and I don't know if it's still true, but they got headboat heaters that you plug your car in at night and it keeps the oil from freezing.
Headboat here.
Headboat heaters, yeah.
Oh.
And for Volkswagen's products, they got electric dipsticks that you stick down in the regular the hole, and it keeps your oil from freezing.
Head burritos?
Headboat heaters. Yeah.
Head burritos.
Head burritos. That's another program.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's-
My mistake.
yeah.
Head burritos. Well, Johnny Depp is in deep trouble. What a dork. What a dork.
I hope you can explain his behavior. I mean, I haven't been able to watch that much, but what I see, I mean,
He's got problems.
And
He's got serious problems. I mean, he's a brilliant actor. I always liked him in almost everything he's done.
He did a great job. In the
He
Pirates
does a
of the
great job. He
Caribbean.
really throws himself into the role. But I mean, let's face it. Some of these actors that are really good are crazy, frankly, and have a lot of problems.
yeah, look at Brando at the end. Well, that was a nutcase.
Tom Cruise, he's another nut.
He is coming that way. They say every day, since he gets on the stand, the attorney asks him, have you taken anything that will alter your behavior or alter your memory or alter your testimony here today? And he answers no, he hasn't. But he still looks drunk or doped up.
Yeah. Yeah, he is definitely something wrong with him. And this is the funny part, right? I don't know if it's funny, but he sued his ex-wife. Okay, so for those listeners who don't know what's going on, he sued his ex-wife for defamation because she got on some show and she was talking about domestic abuse. And she didn't state, I guess, specifically him, but she did state that she was in a domestic abuse situation and blah, 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 blah. You know, people can read between the lines. And he sued her for defamation. So he pretty much opened this up.
He did.
For himself. And because it's his lawsuit. And now he's on the stand. And now they're talking about drug addiction, talking about blackouts. They're talking about,
violence.
Bringing up all these text messages that he sent to his girlfriend, I guess. And talking about how he was just completely out of it and him admitting stuff on there, and he just keeps going. I guess he's an actor.
He's claiming he lost movie scripts and movie opportunities because of what she said. But then when you see him in court, I mean, who would, the guy's,
he's a loose cannon.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a mess.
He is a mess.
They also say that, and I don't know if this is true or not. This guy's earned over $200 million during his career, and he's broke.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, he was broke. I mean, a few months ago, I believe when the stuff was coming out that he was broke, I remember.
It was like last year.
Yeah.
It came out. Like, applied for bankruptcy.
Did he really? Yeah.
I think so.
And he made $200 million.
I saw. I mean, after that, I saw him in a ad for male cologne called Savage or Savage.
Savage?
I think it's Savage.
Savage.
It's spelled like savage. And then he looked all, like a male model. It was.
Oh, okay.
I was like, Johnny, I'm sorry.
Yeah, when you see an actor that's doing commercials, it's not good. Like, they're just running out of roles.
They're running out of things to do.
I mean, maybe you do it if you get paid like a ton of money, but he probably went out and tried to find that commercial.
Or his agent did, yeah.
I remember seeing those commercials.
Trying to find him doing something.
Savage.
Savage?
No, I'm sorry.
Savage? Savage?
It was spelled different, weirdly, and it sounded differently.
How'd it smell?
I didn't smell it.
No.
All I saw was
I
Johnny
remember
Depp.
those ads. They were like so weird. They would show you random videos of a beach.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they would like drop this cologne onto like a concrete floor, and it would like not break.
Makes it smell good.
It was like in a glass bottle and savage.
Yeah, he's really done it. Well, I'll tell you what was savage here. They brought up destruction of property and rooms full of hookers and animals and blood.
Animals?
What?
And blood? I understand the hookers, but
all
animals
three
and blood?
of those things do not mix ever.
Yikes.
What type of animals? Were they birds?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't know. We want to
Exotic peacocks?
Yeah.
Depp punched up a bathroom on the visit after an argument with openly bisexual Amber Heard, which was his ex-wife, about the attention another woman was giving her. Okay, so, and then he's sitting up there saying that he doesn't have a problem. That maybe you think I'm drinking too much. That's your deal. To me, it's not that much. I'm just trying to get through. But then he has all these text messages and things that he says. One of them he says, I was very, very drunk on the flight, and it was from his UK libel trial. Okay, so he also sued the in the United Kingdom, he also sued. I think it was the Sun or something that they do. They're like the Inquirer over here.
Yeah.
They're always doing stuff, and he sued them in the UK for libel. And so during those testimonies, he's giving testimony about things that he's done, and then apparently in this trial, he's contradicting himself from the previous.
Yeah.
So, what a mess. He's a mess.
Yes. Yeah.
I like him better in Rango.
Yeah, just stick to the voiceovers. I mean, he does fine there.
Does he right? That's that Rango?
Yeah, Rango. He
the
did
lizard,
Rango.
Lizard man. I mean, not lizard man. Lizard.
Wasn't he a gecko?
No, he
Not
was a
gecko.
chameleon.
A chameleon.
He was a chameleon
He's
in the
a
desert.
chameleon. Yeah.
Stumbles upon the city of dirt.
Yeah, that was a good movie. It was good. But, I don't know. Everybody runs their course, I think. Everybody runs their course. And apparently he has been on drugs and alcohol. And there was supposedly photos of him and some next to some cocaine and some parties. And, these are physical evidence.
That's powdered sugar.
Yeah, it's been set up. Huh? It's Robert Downey Jr. went through that and came back a better actor.
Yeah.
But I can't. Johnny Depp. I don't know if he could do that.
I don't know. I think Johnny Depp was always odd. He was
Right.
always just kind of a weirdo. Even the roles he took and the things he was always kind of strange.
Yeah.
So I think Robert Downey Jr. was more normal. I mean,
True,
he did
yeah.
do a
Conventional.
lot of wacky things
Yeah.
offset, but I think he gravitated more towards normal types of
Except
acting.
for he played a lawyer one time. That's not.
Yeah, that's not normal.
Yeah, that's way out there. That's
And Marilyn Manson is Depp's buddy.
really.
Who knew?
Yeah.
You know Marilyn Manson,
Yeah, sure.
right?
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
about a
A
weirdo.
musician or singer or rapper. Or whatever.
Yeah, so he's a singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that
He
either.
used to be in. You ever watch when you didn't see Son of Anarchy? Did you?
No, I
Geez.
didn't.
Marilyn Manson played a role in that. He did very well. I thought for what it was. I mean, it was a TV series, but he played a bit part.
There's all those kind of strange TV series. The really weird one that I wanted to mention last week, but we didn't get to it, that my boys brought to my attention was Dr. Pill. What was it? Dr. Pop Pimple or something? Pimple Popper?
Dr. Pimple Popper. Yeah.
Dr. Pimple Popper. There's
that's
an
what it's called.
actual series. It's in season 8.
You're kidding.
No.
It's gross. It's
It's a doctor that pops pimples and
Yeah,
boils
yeah,
and and
I
stuff
got
like
it.
cuts open skin and removes giant cysts. It's very graphic and disgusting. Why do people watch this?
It is in season 8, Rick.
And that's
It's been on for 8.
somebody
seasons.
watching it. Yeah, somebody watch it. Be syndicated and in reruns soon. So that's.
How many times can you pop a pimple?
I don't know how many different ways can you pop a pencil.
Well, and this is the weird thing. So I watched one of the episodes, okay, because I was just curious.
Sure.
And she says at the beginning, I think she's Hawaiian or Filipino or no, yeah. So she says,
Aloha.
"Oh, this is a tumor." She said, "Oh no, she said this is a tumor." And then, when she actually took it out, she's like, "Oh yeah, this is a normal. This is what a cyst looks like." And I'm thinking, cyst and tumors are two different things.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
kind of a doctor is this? She doesn't even know what it is.
I don't know. Take it out of you.
Make it up as she goes along. Huh? Yeah.
You know what? You know what's an actual good series that you should watch?
What?
Now we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting to the close to the end of our show, and let me tell you,
Okay.
Big T and Friends, which is on YouTube, which Brevin and Tristan have created.
Watch it. It's not full of
It's-
woke garbage.
No, it's not full of woke garbage,
Perfect
but
for
they
children.
created. They made a recent YouTube video, and it's pretty sure it's called. What's it called?
Nightmare on Elmo Street.
Nightmare
you know
on
it's
Elmo
good.
Street, and it
okay.
has Elmo, and it's gotten up to how many? 500 views or something like that.
It
It's
went
really
from like 80 views to now it's almost 500 views.
within
this one day.
Within a day.
This day,
Yeah.
in fact.
Today.
So it's,
I got up and I checked the analytics, and I'm like, whoa, did this just gain 100 views?
Yes,
And then it just
overnight.
keeps gaining.
It keeps getting. It's very good.
So
It's
make
very good.
make it bigger, everyone.
Yes, if you
right.
go on Big T and Friends and look at Nightmare on Elmo
Nightmare
Street.
on Elmo Street.
Now this is animated or
No,
it's-
it's their acting and editing, and
let's
they
get-
use their little sister's Elmo.
Also,
created.
watch Rob Haas because that took a while. It's
Yeah.
a 7-minute video. Just it's funny if you like Bob Ross parodies.
Yeah, Bob Ross parody.
I might.
Rob
Get to it.
Haas.
Rob Haas.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. We love you guys. Be careful.
Do.
Rick and Hasha at night.
Bye bye.